WCCS 101.1 FM, AM 1160, WCCSradio.com. Good morning to you. Thanks so much for being with us. Indiana County District Attorney Bob Manzi is in the studio with us this morning, and good to have him here as we bring you the visit presented by Marcus and Mack, voted the best law firm and best personal injury lawyer 4 years in a row in the Best of Indiana County contest. Visit them online at marcusandmack.com. You've been a busy guy.
Yes, to say the least.
Man, oh man, the cases that are coming up, and we get the releases, of course, so we can talk a little bit about some of those cases. Some of them are long-term cases that have, finally concluded, and still there will be appeals processes that come through, and we understand that. That's a part of the whole process that happens. But bottom line is there are some folks behind bars and incarcerated that will be for a very, very long time to the overall safety of the Indiana County community, and that's really what it's all about.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. Safety is number one. The idea of the criminal justice system, the goal is what can we do to make our community safer? What can we do to reduce crime? What can we do to make it a safer place to live for everybody? Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, there are just people who just need to be in jail. Yeah. They just, because of whatever's going on in their decision-making and in their lives, they are just not safe to be in our community. They just need to be locked up.
And we'll get to some of those in a couple of moments, but there are also some people for whom jail is not the best possible route. And Attorney General Sunday was here in town for, I thought, a pretty auspicious event just a week or so ago. And to see the way that whole thing, we talked with you about Veterans Court at Christmas time, I believe it was, up at the 700 shop, as a matter of fact.
Yes.
To see the way that the law enforcement system adapts to circumstances and to possibilities, I guess, is a pretty heartening thing, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, when you kind of pull the curtain back, and I get to see it every day, but when you pull the curtain back and you see what is going on throughout our system, we don't believe jail's going to work for everybody. Like I said, some people just need to be in jail. There are some people that is not going to serve any valuable purpose. They're going to come out of our county jail. They're not going to get treatment. They're going to be back in the community facing the same problems they're facing. So, the partnership that we have with the Attorney General's office in our LETI program since 2023 has proven that. We take first-time offenders with substance abuse disorder. We provide treatment very early on. We get them the help they need. We address whatever's going on. And what we have seen is 95% of those cases, they never come back to the criminal justice system since they go in. That's incredible success right there. Mm-hmm. That's getting somebody what they need so that they don't commit future crimes. And when they're not committing future crimes, they're living a better life. Their family, their friends, everything going on in their world's better. And us in the community is better because we're not dealing with them committing 3, 4, 5, 6 cases, other crimes, other victims. With Attorney General Sunday, we have added the behavioral health component to LETI, which we're going to start looking at what can we do with those cases even before they enter the criminal justice system. How do we better help connect folks to treatment needs so that they don't come into the criminal justice system? Mm-hmm. And we're not talking about, we're not talking about the very violent, very serious cases. We're going to talk about some cases, property damage, lighting a dumpster on fire because a person is dealing with auditory hallucinations that have told them to. Mm-hmm. Well, jail's not going to fix that. But getting them the right treatment is going to stop what could be even more dangerous crimes down the road from that person. So having law enforcement working with that capacity, again, it's all about what's the goal. We don't care about little gold stickers for jail sentences. What we look at is what's working to make our community safer.
We're coming up on a year since the mental health facility at IRMC, the Mountains facility at IRMC, opened up. And the role that it plays in what you do and in this particular program as well can be very significant.
Oh, absolutely. They're incredible partners there. There you have individuals with very significant mental health needs that, they need to be in a facility where they're locked in, but it's not the jail. The jail, and unfortunately there's a lot of cases across our country where the jail ends up as a default mental health facility because there's just no other place for these individuals to go and get treatment. So now somebody who's really dealing with some serious mental health issues should be in a facility such as the one at IRMC. They're not in the jail. They're not where they don't need to be. They're where they need to be. They're getting help from professionals, experts in those fields. I can't speak enough about how valuable that is to the mental health concerns we have in our community.
Yeah, and the adaptability for officials at IRMC, with the county, with even the state, to be able to see that here's something that is not quite as good as it could be, and we can make this better. And then to make the commitment to make it better is a pretty admirable thing.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's incredible partnerships that are going around. You know, when you look at Mountain's behavioral health, there's a lot of community members that stepped up and really made significant donations to make that happen. State officials, you know, Senator Pittman and Representative Struzzi did incredible work to make that happen, to be able to come to our community. And again, now you're seeing people getting the ideal help they need to reduce those problems. I mean, their geriatric unit, we would have cases where senior may be committing some crimes, again, criminal mischiefs, or maybe even in some cases making threats. What we're finding out is it's early onset dementia, it's Alzheimer's, some other mental health issues that, you know, the criminal justice system is not the right place for them.
Yeah.
They get the help there, and they're getting the help they need, and our community's safer for it.
Chief Shaw was with us in our last hour, and we were talking about the IU Patties event and the number of people who were arrested during that event, and some ongoing investigations, including at least one shooting. And as he said, he believes there was a second shooting, even though it was reported, still not yet confirmed. That investigative process goes on. Your office obviously very much interested and involved in those investigations. As you watch those unfold, how is it that the DA's office can assist the actual people, the detectives and the police officers who are doing those investigations? What is your role in that?
Sure. So, you know, there's a legal part of it where we're talking about search warrants that need to be completed. So we'll help out with the legal documents. We'll get court orders. You know, we'll process a lot of that legal paperwork that needs done in order to get that evidence that we're going to need. Then it's going to be conversations with the detectives about admissibility in court for evidence in what we need. You know, they find a piece of evidence. How do we make sure that evidence is admissible in court? We maintain the chain of custody. We maintain, you know, we make sure it's viable. What all do we need to make sure we have enough to ultimately convict of whatever we're going to charge with? And then practically, it's just having those conversations where you're just brainstorming ideas of, you know, what we're dealing with, who we're dealing with, what kind of world they're living in, what partners, who other partners can we bring in? You know, we have some partners from Allegheny County that have come in. We have some federal partners that are coming in. We have some partners from out east that are helping out. So really connecting a lot of the resources that we all have in order to get the best investigation possible, the most admissible evidence that we can to build the case again for the charges that we're eventually going to charge.
It's interesting to me when you follow some of the docket sheets of cases that are coming before the courts, and you look at the various legal steps leading up to a trial. It's a very detail-oriented thing, and all of the I's needed to be dotted, and all of the T's needed to be crossed. The commas and the semicolons have to be put in the right places. Everything has to be just so in order for you to have the best chance to get a conviction when a case comes before the court. It's really important for everybody involved in that whole process to play their role correctly, and for you or for they to not have to do extra steps that might just weaken a case.
Oh, absolutely. When you watch TV, these cases get done in about an hour with some commercials set aside. You know, when we're working a case, that work goes in even before the crime happens. You know, we're having those relationships with the police officers, talking about what we want to see done, what we're seeing in court, case law that's coming down about, you know, Fourth Amendment rights, Sixth Amendment rights. We want to make sure everyone is keyed up with all the most current law so that when a crime happens, we know that investigation is in compliance with the most updated law. The trainings that we're going to have even prior to what's going on, any crimes happening, we have officers that go to various trainings, in our county or around the state or around the country, so that they're keeping up to speed on all of the newest investigation tactics of what we're doing. Because, the criminals are going to react to what we do to change the crimes they're doing, and we need to be able to react of how are we going to investigate it, how are we going to stop it. So you have a great deal of work that goes in, once a crime happens and it begins investigation, it begins prosecution, we want to make sure everything is done right because, you have some very good defense attorneys out there that, as they're defending a case, they're trying to do their job and poke holes at, whether it's a legal issue, whether it's a factual issue, and we need to be able to stand strong with that case and defend any attacks they may have on the case to ultimately get to that conviction.
Yeah. You can't actually lock a door to keep the criminals out of Indiana County, but you can make it more difficult for them to get away with crimes within Indiana County. Maybe they take their action elsewhere. Maybe through your educational efforts, you're able to prevent someone from becoming a criminal as well. That you go to schools, and to prevent crimes by going to senior centers or wherever else people might gather to protect them from scams or from some other possible danger that is out there in the public. I know you take that role, part of your role, very seriously too.
I think that's a huge investment. I mean, you look at all the research, any type of prevention is worth tenfold of reaction. So, but if we, I would rather, we have McGruff now. McGruff has been going to see all the real young children in Head Starts and in schools, and we have a lot of that going on. We want to start really early. We're going to middle schools. We're going to high schools. We're talking about the dangers of drugs, social media crimes that are happening there. We have our LEDI programs that are trying to connect people to assistance before a crime happens. The more and more we can get in front of the problem before it even starts is just so much better for our community. And then as people do commit crimes, how we react to it ideally is going to meet that ultimate goal, what's best for them and what's best for our community, because that community safety is number one.
Yeah.
We can do all the things we do, but if we're not making our community safer, then we need to change steps.
Rather stop crime before it becomes crime.
Absolutely.
He's Indiana County District Attorney Bob Manzi. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the time.
It is the voice of Indiana County. It's WCCS 101.1